Yo, hey, what's going on, everybody? Joey J. Ping here, checking in live, respectmyregion.com. We're back here again on another episode of the RMR Podcast. Again, I'm Joey J. Ping, and we've got a very special guest today, you guys. We've got Marianne Cursetjee here, CEO, founder of Alibi Cannabis. Alibi is a woman-owned, woman-operated, women-led team there, cannabis, cultivation, a brand. You guys got a bunch of really great things going on in Clackamas, Oregon, which is we'll call it the greater Portland area. Marianne, happy holidays. Welcome.
Hey, Joey. So glad to be here. Happy New Year.
Yeah, I really appreciate you joining us here today. It's always a pleasure to be able to hang out and spend some time with you. Today's episode is the 129th, Marianne. We've been doing this for quite a while, and it's an honor to officially have you as a guest once again here on our episode. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about your personal journey with the plant. We're going to talk a little bit about the business journey as well, and we're going to have some fun questions at the end. How does that sound?
That sounds fabulous. I hope my cat doesn't disturb you too much if you can hear it in the background.
You know, this was a great time for me to transition to our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by Seedless Media and your cat, which is making a cameo appearance with audio sonically today. So for those of you guys watching, if you guys would like to have any questions for the cat, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you have any questions for Marianne, be sure to drop them in the comments too, and we'll go ahead and get this on and popping. How about ready, Marianne? I'm going to light up this joint. How here we go.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about the what episode you are of your podcast. I was just looking up to see what harvest we're on. From regulated states. Everybody's got their own numbers, and I see it's kind of cute. The people on the East Coast, yeah, we had our 5th harvest. We just took down our 82nd harvest.
82nd harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a lot of weed, Marianne.
Yeah.
Now,
a lot of learning.
Now, folks, I was just showing love to our sponsor, Seedless Media. They are a full-service marketing agency. Be sure to tap in with them. Put in the URL, seedless.media, if you guys need any marketing support to grow your revenue. They are our current dedicated partners for all things marketing. Big shout out to them for powering the podcast and all these episodes. Now, the episode today is not about Seedless. It's about you and Alibi Marianne. So I know a little bit about your history, but for those people that may not know you, can you share a little bit about the personal journey? I know most people have a former life prior to working in cannabis. Can you talk to me a little bit about your former life prior to cannabis and what inspired you to get into cannabis and really take having a business and everything head on?
Yeah, absolutely. My background is very traditional and, rather boring. I've done some really interesting things, but it's pretty boring and traditional. Worked at Intel. I've worked at Microsoft. I had an e-commerce company. I have a background in finance and tech with, my undergrad was in accounting, and then I have an MBA. So my goal for a really long time was to become a controller and then a CFO. That was the path that I was on. And then I really just got the entrepreneurial bug, and I started an e-commerce company back before Amazon, back when it was easy, back when you could actually do it, and ran that for 10 years. Had a lot of fun, sold that, and then shortly thereafter was diagnosed with breast cancer. So
Wow.
That made, everything goes out the window when you have a health challenge. It's, all your plans and all your ideas like, oh, this is what I thought we were going to doing. But then, the world has a way of redirecting you. So I took a year off from doing anything and focused on my health. During that time, I had just finished chemo. We found some property, and Oregon had just legalized. So we thought, well, let's do it. We had no idea what we were getting into, but, let's do something. It really helped me through chemo. And
Mm-hmm.
I 100% believe in the health benefits. So that's what we're doing here at Alibi.
Wow. What a journey there. And, people talk about the struggles of being in cannabis, and you take it to a whole different internal personal level and talk about those kinds of challenges and the impact on people around you. And it's a whole different type of battle. It's a whole different type of obstacles every day to do that. And it's very inspiring to know you today, to think about, you had to commit to lifestyle changes and certain things to really get over the top just to be here. And so big shout out to you and your commitment to existing in life and sharing this journey with us as well. I think that's really powerful. Now, that journey in building businesses, right? You're a business builder through and through, Marianne. We've had talks and conversations about culture and leadership and training, and man, I wish people just would wanted to kill it, and crush it at things as bad as we do, right? They like really take ownership and just go make moves for, and be successful in life. Talk to me a little bit about your ethos as a person and what you stand for and represent and how that translates into Alibi.
It's really interesting because I think these challenges and these struggles, it forms you and it shapes you. Yes.
He's like, yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I co-sign that.
Her name is Tia, and she does not want to be ignored. But it's if your life is easy, then you don't learn anything and you don't grow and you don't change. And I think that going through these struggles, as difficult as they are, it's made me a better person. And so just as a quick story, when I was first diagnosed with cancer, I started looking around at different people that I also knew had cancer to learn what I could from their journey. And I met a woman who was very bitter and she was very angry and she was not a happy person. And I made the decision at that point that I did not want to become her. I wanted to take what I can and just be the best person for me and for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we try to do here at Alibi is support, recognize everybody's humanity and recognize that everybody brings their own personal experience. And we want to share that. I want to share happiness and joy and bright and light. And that's what we all want to be.
Happy. No, I feel that. I think that's a perspective to really think about. There's obviously various types of different, and it's easy to like say it's easy to like say the quote, right? And like how you bounce back, how you react, how you overcome these challenges is everything. But that's easier said than done. Going and physically doing that and executing that day to day, day in and day out, that becomes a thing. And when you talk about mindset and energy and peace, it's a commitment to doing something consistently over time to keep you going in that direction. And so I think that's huge to think about, for those people that are out there that are experiencing that negativity or some form of depression. Maybe you're a little spicy, maybe you're a little sad. There is a consistent way to work your way out of that or to stay away from that type of darkness in a lot of ways. And it takes time. Oh, here we go. This is what she wanted. She wanted to be the star of the show. Hello, Tia. Hello. Oh yeah, now of course, right? Yeah. That's how cats are.
Yeah, but you're totally right. Like that's what I learned with chemo is people talk about, the struggle and the fight and all of that. But for me, what I found is that there is no fight. There's no way you can battle these poisonous chemicals that chemo is. It's designed to kill cancer, and it can't target just cancer. I mean, there's new versions that can, but it really just takes out your whole body. Mm-hmm. And so there's no amount of fight that's going to make it better. It's mindset. And are you going to get up today and do what you got to do? Or are you going to curl up in a ball in the corner and cry your eyes out? I mean, there's times for both of that, but
100%.
But, choosing to get up and choosing to be happy, that's the thing. And are you going to do it or are you not?
Now, obviously that, going through that in any businesses, there's a variety of classic challenges, right? And then there's the ones that just pop up and appear, rainy seasons, a roof could leak and flood or wind, right? Trees. If you're in the South, down in Florida, you got hurricanes and you never know if a gator just might come up. Now, what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome? Cancer, obviously, that's a huge part of the life, right?
Yeah.
But when we look at some of these other business challenges, when we look at some of the human challenges as well that are tied with business, what have been some of those challenges with, your journey into cannabis from the personal before to the where you're at now? What have been some of the biggest ones?
Yeah, there's so many. Part of the biggest challenge I think that we have faced here in our company is figuring out where we spend our time and our money.
Mm-hmm.
because those are the two limited resources that we have. And, we've all heard stories of people, you put $5 million into a facility and then they mothball it a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not a trust fund baby. We don't have outside investment. So we can't afford to waste money and waste time. So we've had to be really, really focused on what matters to the business. And after almost 8 years doing it, the focus, we've really got it honed down, is we've got to grow the best that we possibly can and make the most out of our infrastructure, and just do the best that we can. And, everybody has different styles of growing, and our building was built for a certain style of growing. So that's what we do, and we make the most of it. Always staying focused on genetics and
Yeah.
quality. We've been focusing on our cure the last 6 months. That's really made a huge difference, and just really doing the best that we can. The pricing is a race to the bottom, but I don't want quality to be a race to the bottom.
100%. I feel like every market, there's a price point that does meet there is like an equilibrium almost, where it's like anything less than this price, you can kind of assume it's going to be hit or miss, or even like on the lower side of consistently good. Like, like this is cool, but like, it didn't really get me that high or taste that great, but it was a good for $30, right? Stuff like that. And that's kind of true and different. It's like different, but also the same in a lot of these different markets, right? And although Oregon's highly saturated, highly competitive, that $40+ eighth, it's typically pretty decent weed in Oregon. You definitely get quality at that price point. And there's a lot of people here. This platform is designed to help you guys get more awareness. What is the rough price of an Alibi Cannabis product at these dispensaries in Oregon? What is that market price for good quality cannabis grown by, a true craft cultivator?
It's really interesting. We talked to some of our dispensary partners, and they've got the $8 shelf, the $10 shelf, the $12 shelf. And we really want to be on the shelf that moves, because our goal is never to be the top shelf, sits there forever because it's so high priced that it's not accessible. I would rather have the sales velocity and have it more in the middle. And we are so efficient with our cost of goods that I don't even mind being on the bottom shelf if that's what moves and we're still making money, because that gets it in the hands of people who need quality cannabis. If that's what your budget is, you shouldn't be forced to just smoke crap. You should have access to good quality no matter what. And so, we target the middle shelf, but that's not what we grow. Like, that's a pricing decision, not a quality decision.
Yeah. Cannabis in today's world is a balance between existing as a legal business, just period, and trying to pay your bills and pay your employees, and existing and growing and improving over time, right? And whatever the customers in the dispensaries are doing, right? Like, it's this weird balance of like, okay, obviously we're businesses and we have these costs and we need insurance and we need compliance and lawyers and licenses and fire department just are checking in and all these things that go into just having a barbershop to some degree, or to having a retail store, or selling food at a restaurant. Like, you have your own things you got to do to just exist. But these dispensaries and the consumers, they don't know or care how the beer's made by Coors. They don't know or care how the shoe's made by Nike. And that's an unfortunate reality that creates this awkward pricing structure in cannabis, right? And you guys are trying to grow and exist and grow, but the market's going to do whatever it does, right?
Yep. Yeah, and that's interesting, about how to communicate that. You're down in California, there's this news that has come out with all the pesticides in California, and we've had a lot of conversations about how we educate our customers that we don't do any of that stuff, but it's an interesting dynamic of how do you educate without causing fear and without making things worse, because I think that we in the industry have a different perspective on all that stuff than your average customer.
Of course, the customers are aware of less than 1%, and other people are the industry is aware of all these things, but only as often as they see it on the
Right.
media or what people they're talking about and social media and all that stuff. It's again, it's a pretty violent echo chamber from the industry perspective, and the different how far away the industry is from where
Yeah.
consumers really are at the end of the day, right? And each state has different consumers, Marianne. Oregon is a unique beast. You guys have Nike, you guys have Adidas, you guys have a variety of other large brands and companies and sports teams there, and all these different things. I mean, shoot, University of Oregon is down there in the middle of
Hmm.
the state. You guys got Oregon State, you guys got Portland, you guys got the Trailblazers. You guys have a lot going on from like a there's hundreds of thousands of people that are loyal to things and spend money on it, and they do things and they participate. There's a nightlife, there's food truck culture, all of the there's the coast, there's tourism, right? There's so much. Oh, there's Bend with the
Yep.
snowboarding and the skiing and the mountains and Crater Lake. Oregon is a wonderful place. What is it like for you with your brand Alibi Cannabis? What has it been like connecting with so many different people in so many different markets and cities and building community? What has it been like for you, and how do you guys go about doing it?
That really is the magic question. We have tried lots of things, and probably more than half of them haven't worked. But the ones that have worked are fun and genuine, and an honest reflection of what we can offer. So we've gotten connected with snow. You mentioned snowboarders. There's a couple snowboarders down in Bend at Mount Bachelor that really love our joints, and so they take them up snowboarding. We've gotten lots of pictures of them out in the mountain, and that's been a good way to build our brand amongst that community. We've got another push coming in the spring. We've got some skateboarders who really want to rep our brand, so we're going to be doing some custom boards for them and connecting them with the
Think,
active culture. That's really our demographic. That's who we serve, is the active younger, both men and women love our brand. Really just people who want quality weed and want to support a woman owned and a woman grower business.
yeah. So inserting yourself in right there in with the communities you want to work with, investing time, energy, product, whatever it is, relationship building into supporting that and authentically being shared and created and put in front of more
Yeah,
of those people.
absolutely. You said it. Yeah,
I
perfectly.
like,
That's the blueprint right there.
come on, come on. There we go. There we go. Now, let's show love to some people that have helped you along the way. Who or what has been your biggest inspiration and or like a mentor in the space? Who's been someone that you know helped give you some game or really help open a door for you?
That's a great question, and I will have to think about this. But just kind of some, not necessarily a mentor, but a colleague that I respect a lot, and we spend some time with. Carl, who runs Trade Routes over in Massachusetts, he and I have gotten to be
Oh yeah,
friends, and so we have quarterly calls where we just call and talk about what each of us are doing and how we can help each other out. And I really appreciate the the openness and the genuine relationships that are built. Here in Oregon, it seems like all the people that, maybe not all, but a lot of the people who were here at the beginning have transitioned off to doing other things. So the number of people that are still running businesses in Oregon today compared to 8 years ago when we started, there's just not there. And so those
wow.
of us who stuck around, we've gotten to be good friends. Just on there's Self-Made Farms. They're a big outdoor farm in Southern Oregon. The owners are good friends of mine, and we, hang out every once in a while. But it's about building that community and helping each other out. So if I need toll processing, I'll call them up and they'll run it for me. But it's finding who you need and what you need, and being able to share. And now that we've been in business for 8 years, not only do I have people that I can call when I need help, but then I'm also happy to provide that. I'm a mentor with a women's startup organization, so I help women start businesses and provide advice and suggestions. And I really like that as a way of giving back and sharing some of my knowledge.
I think that's huge. You know, I mean, I like to live by the try to make moves and put people in the position to keep inspiring more greatness, right? Do dope stuff, inspire other people, put people on the platform, share the game, come rise and bring people up with you. And so I love that particularly because we do that with each other. And then we're also very, together we're always intentional about trying to show, put other people on, and you've been huge about making sure that we get included with more people there in Oregon, and talking and sharing the, highlights on the culture and good people to work with, and that's what it's all about, right? And so Oregon, get it together. Let's connect with each other.
Yep.
Let's build. Let's support y'all. We got a lot of opportunity for y'all. If anybody from Oregon watching this, we'd love to connect. We'd love to support y'all, man. Marianne, what's one piece of advice you give to someone considering entering the industry? What's a crucial piece of advice you got for some people?
I would say don't get over your skis. So if you're thinking of starting a business, figure out how you're going to cash flow positive from the gate, and don't bank on something that hasn't happened yet. Start small, be aggressive, but don't get too far ahead of yourself, because things change so quickly that you just never know. But for those who are interested in finding a job, I teach a class at LIM College in New York. So I get this question a lot from students, like they want to start out in the industry. What should you do? And my answer is always find something that you love, because the cannabis industry doesn't just need growers. We also need accountants and CPAs and lawyers and graphics design and social media, all of that stuff. So if that's your passion, then find a way to build up the industry with that. It's very open and generous, and there's lots of opportunity.
That's amazing. I remember you first telling me that you were teaching that, and it was always a goal to go back to the various schools and that I've been to and help support, cannabis or business to some degree through my experiences. Now, a quick question for you, Marianne. Remind me, how did Alibi Cannabis come to life from the name perspective and the logo? Just hit me with the quick, how did the brand formulate and come to life and with all that?
Okay, so there's always a great story. We were looking around at coming up with a brand name. So there's a lot of farms who aren't branded. They're just, Joe's Farm, which is great, and that's fine. But I wanted to build a brand. I wanted something that would last, something that would connect with our customer, because at the end it's the emotional connection that brings people back. And alibi, the word, it just means being somewhere else. And to me, that's what cannabis does, is it takes you out of the, this kind of crappy days that we all have, and it takes you somewhere better. So if you're in pain, it can make you feel better. And if you've got anxiety, it can calm you down, all of those things. So that's what the word alibi means. And then our imagery, I met a friend of mine, this was early days, and she had connections with an artist that's in LA and London, and they were creating a group of NFTs. This was back in the,
Oh yeah, is that where some of the art came from then?
Yep, and that's where the art came from.
Nice.
They created the art, and she sent me a preview. It was just going to go out to the open market on OpenSea, and I was like, oh no, I love that. I need that. Let's lock it down. So we locked it down. We have exclusive. We bought the whole thing, and it really is representative of what we want to do. And so it's our packaging in the real world, but then also in the future, as that whole digital side continues to evolve, we have the option of doing something online. And I love those possibilities of what that might look like. Of hey, you go into a bar, and her name's Mariposa on her branding, so maybe she's sitting down at the piano, or maybe she's sitting in the corner, whatever. You can make up your own scenarios, but it's kind of fun.
I love that. I remember I love the NFT wave. How fun was that? Ultimately, just great opportunity for more digital art to be consumed, reachable, purchased, supported. Just another channel at the end of the day. Shout out to you guys for jumping into that and doing it in an authentic way that, for the most part, you wouldn't really even know that the original stuff of that is NFT marketplaces. It looks just like, wow, you just saw art and and that kind of stuff, like the traditional. But that's, in some ways, it's very futuristic, trendy, and and techie of you. And I'm that's one of the things I love about you, is you're with the shits. You're one of the cool bosses out here running a brand the way you want to do it. And I think that's also too, it kind of leads into one of my next questions is, what sets Alibi Cannabis apart in such a competitive market in Oregon is some of these things, creativity, the we'll call it the sponsorships and collaborations. But it's what makes the brand really is the team. And you got a great team. We visited with you in in November. It was a great trip. It was cold. It was rainy. It was classic Northwest Oregon vibes, Portland PN Dub vibes. You know what I'm saying? I smoked some of the flower. We've got reviews coming. What couple I believe are already online. That Durban, it made the notable list for some of the best in the country. I've smoked a lot of weed, Marianne, over the last 5 months all over North America, and people definitely grow strains with high concentrations of terpinolene. But as you saw in that sentence, it was you and Hometown Cultivation that had some of the most terpy products in the country for that Durban poison familia of, people growing it. And I think that is representative of Oregon's commitment to growing quality cannabis and balancing between these hype strains. And that's a landrace classic genetic that's been around for 20 plus years. So I think you guys do a great job, and I wanted to show love there. But to me, the question that I've got for you, Marianne, is tell me about the team that you have. It's a small team. Let's show love to the support group that you got there. Who heads up the cultivation? And I believe it's less than 7 people, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh yeah, we're real tiny.
Yeah.
So on the cultivation side, our head of cultivation, her name is Lacey Thomas.
Yep.
She has a master's in plant pathology, so she does have the traditional science plant background.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in Eugene, Oregon, which is center of the hippie weed culture in Oregon, and this has been a part of her life since forever. And she just loves the plant and has really instilled in the cultivation team both the science and how you do crop steering and get the most out of the plants with the the culture and wanting to grow what the customers need. So
the customers love certain flavors and genetics, and it's this balance between price and hype, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about the genetics you guys are running, and 2025 is tonight. It's literally in 11 hours and 52 minutes. So
right.
The countdown begins, folks. So tell me a little bit about the genetics you guys are running in 2025. What's coming down the pipeline, Marianne?
So the most exciting one that we have one called Vice City. And it just got harvested. It's in trim right now. We are really excited about this one. It's from Exotic Genetics.
Wow.
It's Runts cross. Kind of overall the Runt stuff, but it's what sells and what people like. So I think that this cross is going to be fabulous. The other things that we have coming down, I'm just looking at our list. A staple for us is Gary Poppins. So it's a Gary Peyton cross. That's always good. And we have a ton of R&D stuff that we've gotten. We got some stuff from Hawaii. So we've got a Wowie Sour, Tequila Sunrise, and a bunch of stuff. It's a balance trying to find new flavors, but yet we still have to grow our other, staples. And because sometimes, we pop seeds, they don't always make it to the end. And so we've got to balance that risk of how much new stuff do we have in the pipeline versus stuff that we know is going to work in our system.
Of course.
And I know you mentioned it. We do have a Platinum lemon cherry gelato, which I think that's right up your alley.
That, I love my candies. I also love the oranges. I love a little bit of that peppery gas. I like smoking Kush, but yeah, man, I'm definitely in there with those candies. That's definitely my thing. Now, because you've got all these flavors, let's get into some of these creative questions that I came up with. Big shout out to my to ChatGPT for my creative support here. Marianne, if you could pair one of your Alibi strains with your favorite meal, your favorite drink at any restaurant or even at your home with your family or anything in that world, what would it be? What would the meal be, and what would the strain be?
Ooh, okay. So because it's New Year's Eve and we're going over to a friend's house, I was trying to think of something fun to make. I have a recipe for a cranberry pear tart.
Ooh.
So it's very holiday and festive. The cranberries are a little sour. The pears are a little sweet. So I would pair that with our super runs.
Nice. That sounds delicious. That berry and that fruit and that creamy, coming together. That sounds delicious. Okay. I like that one. Now, you have a mascot, right? You have the logo, you have the brand. It's Mariposa, right?
Yep.
Now, if you were to transform that or collaborate with another brand or put that on some merch, what does that look like, a collaboration look like, and what would that brand be in your like top 10 Christmas wish list all time? You know what I'm saying? Who would that be? It could be Rihanna Fenty, could be Beyonce, could be T Swizzle. You know what I'm saying? Who would be your ultimate collab? You could go back in time to another. I'm a music guy, so I'm going backwards, right, to music or
Yeah.
forward to music. But what would that ultimate collab be with your Mariposa times that another brand?
Oh, that's a good question. You got me thinking about music.
This was inspired from shoe culture because of Nike and all their collabs.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it is Nike. You're right there.
Yeah, Nike is right here, and Adidas. Let's see here. I mean, what I'm kind of going to is some of the newer artists. So we've got some, and I can't even think of the names because they're just like emerging artists. But I would want to highlight emerging women artists.
I love it.
So kind of like the acoustical folk, you know, the people just doing their thing in a little coffee shop somewhere where we could sponsor them and help them out and get them some publicity.
I'm with that. I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like the big people already have it made. And yeah, that's what I would do. I would support the people doing music for the love of the music, not for the merch and the hype, but because they love it.
I'm with that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, let's say aliens land tomorrow. It's New Year's 2025, New Year. Let's say aliens take over. What weed are you giving them?
Depends if I want them to stay. Are they friendly or do we want them to go away?
Your choice. I guess you feeling them out. What you doing?
Okay. So we were talking about our Durban. So I would give them our Durban because then they won't fall asleep here and they'll just keep on moving.
The Durban to keep it pushing.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. You know how people always talk about cannabis being stronger back then than it was today?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the one strain that you would recommend for some seniors to try that really gives them the opportunity to chill out on that statement?
Okay. So what we've got one called Laser Fuel. And I think you tried that when you were here.
Yep.
So it's very much a chill out, sit in the sofa, all your pains and all your anxiety is going to go away. So after we kick the aliens off to the next planet and we just want to relax, that's what we're going to be doing, some Laser Fuel.
Laser Fuel. Okay, now if you had to pick 3 Alibi strains, all time or currently about to be in the future, right, lineups, what would be your top 3, or let's do this, top 2 current or before Alibi strains, and what's the heater for the future?
Okay, so the one from before that we don't have anymore, but people still ask for 5 years later, was called Rainbow Crush.
Okay.
And back in the day, we ran basically 3 strains for about 4 years, and that's all we ran because that's what, you know, the business.
That's what people did back then too.
Yeah, that's the way it worked. So we ran Rainbow Crush for so long, but it was played out. We got tired of it, and it kind of got a little sad and sick. But people loved our Rainbow Crush, and I think that's a really authentic. You know, it supports the LGBTQ community, and it's very Portland. So that's the old one. The current one that we're running is Durban. It's always my favorite. I love Durban. Yep. But the one that's coming up, and it's a little edgy name. We don't know how it looks yet. We don't know how she smokes, but it's called Sugar Tits.
Ooh, okay.
So we have high hopes because it's very on brand. So we'll see.
I love that. That's going to be very exciting. Sugar Tits coming in hot from Alibi Cannabis 2025 on the lineup. Marianne, for those people that don't know anything about your brand, what do you want people to know that you guys represent? To those bud tenders that might see this, what do you feel it's important for them to communicate in terms of what you all represent?
Alibi always represents quality and doing the right thing. And so we stand by our products 100%. We always do the right thing at the farm. We treat our employees right. We treat the plants right. And we'll treat you right. So just give it a shot and, you know, who knows where your alibi when you need an alibi? And we're Oregon's best alibi, and hopefully soon announced here first because you're special. Look for us on shelves in New York, Q1.
What? RMR exclusive. Marianne, say what?
Yeah, so stoked to be going to the Empire State.
Wow. Do you have a January, February? What time are we thinking in Q1?
I'd say February. Things always take longer than you think. So I
Naturally.
want to say January, but I don't want to lie to you. So we're going to say February.
Massive. Well, big congratulations. I'm super excited for you. I look forward to trying that and seeing you the next time that we're traveling around the country, man. This is going to be a great one. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the people before we get you out of here?
Not at all. Feel free to reach out. We're on Instagram, Alibi Cannabis. Website's alibicannabis.com. Pretty easy to find. Have any questions or want to ask anything, reach out. And we've got a real-time store locator on our website, so you can find us anywhere in Oregon.
And you're also, I believe, you're still looking for more deals in more states and countries, yeah?
You know it. Yeah, that's
Always
right.
down to make moves and develop the business in other places. Everybody, thank you guys for watching. This was episode 129 of the RMR Podcast. I'm your host, Joey J. Ping. This is Marianne Cursetjee. If you guys have any questions, be sure to reach out to alibicannabis.com. Please be sure to visit respectmyregion.com. And, of course, support our sponsor, Seedless.media, in your URL. Visit their website if you need any help with marketing, running ads, SMS, loyalty, text messaging, specifically retailers trying to grow your revenue. These are the guys. Tap in, and we will see y'all on the next episode. Marianne, always a pleasure, homie.
See you, Joey. Thanks. Happy New
All right.
Year.